it and stuff. So it's like if you feel like you didn't answer a question right, or you like want to do a redo or something like that, or you want me to cut something out, just tell me and then we can edit it. No big deal. So
Okay.
okay. And then obviously it's Ty Neal, but do you go by Ty? Do you go by or you just go by Ty Neal or?
Tynell. Tynell. A lot of people call me Coop. My
Okay.
last name Coop. Um,
Okay.
that's mainly what a lot of people call me, Coop. Coop. But Tynell's fine. That's obviously my name. Ty
Right.
Coop, whatever you want to call me.
All right. Okay. All right. That sounds good. And then it's I'm just going to introduce you as, cornerback from Dixie State, prospect for the NFL draft. It's basically how I'm going to do it. But I don't know if there's
Okay.
anything specific you wanted me to say or anything like that, but
Yeah, no, that's fine.
okay. All right, cool. Oh, Ty Neal Cooper. He is a prospect for the NFL draft. He's a cornerback from Dixie State University, all the way out in Utah. Welcome to the show, Ty Neal.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. So, I guess first question: what have you been doing day to day just to kind of prepare yourself for the draft and kind of get ready to go?
After my pro day, as far as working out, I just been, just working on the weight room, making sure my strength is, up to par, and, as far as my speed, I run every day, and then I hit the field with my DB coach every day, um, and just make sure my back pedal, coming out of my brakes, my hips, and everything is fluent. So hopefully I get that call and I can showcase what I could do.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, it's good. I mean, so your pro day was Utah. Was at Utah State, right?
It was at we had it here in St. George with Southern
Oh,
Utah
okay. Oh, Southern
University.
Utah. Okay. Nice. Good. Good. And you feel like that went well?
Yeah, really well. I ran pretty fast, and that's one of the main things I wanted to work on was running fast, and then as far as the pro agility and the L drill, just test pretty well and just put up pretty good numbers and show that just get past the first part of the testing and showing that I could run and be able to run with guys at the next level and stuff like that coming from a D2. So that was one of the main things I really wanted to focus on and showcase for the scouts.
Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah, makes sense. Now, what for you? Like, when was the first time you thought? I mean, obviously, anyone that plays ball wants to play in the NFL, but when's the first time you thought like you had a legitimate shot?
Truthfully, obviously, like you said, that's always been a goal of mine since I've been playing since I was 6 years old. But I knew that I had a legitimate shot when after my junior season. I had got a all first team all conference in the automatic, and we had a junior day here in St. George, and we had two scouts come down. The Cardinals and Carolina Panthers came down, and they put me through the Wonderlock test, and did my measurements, and then took me out to the field where they tested me on my 40 and stuff like that. So the junior day was really showed me that I have what it takes to play at the next level.
Yeah. All right. Nice. Now you started out at Dean, right? And then over in because you're from Providence originally, correct?
Yes, sir. Providence, Rhode Island,
Okay, nice.
and
And so you start.
and and yeah.
Oh, go
So I
ahead. Go ahead.
started up. So I started out at Dean College in Franklin, Massachusetts. Um, as a true freshman, I was expected to play, uh, or come in and compete right away for a spot. Unfortunately, in camp, my true freshman year, I got hurt, which kind of set me back. And then, and by the time I came back, I kind of just, you know, just just wanted to learn the system and learn, the playbook and stuff like that. And then I came back. I elected to come back after the next year as a redshirt freshman, and I had a pretty solid, first couple games. I started the first couple games, and then we had some veteran guys who started the year uh, before me come back, and I mean, it kind of they threw them back into the loop, and I kind of just played a role on special teams and playing the nickel. That was really my position. They really had me at was the nickel corner position, and I feel as though I did exceptionally well when I got my number called, and then from Dean, I went to San Diego, California, at Grossmont College, and I thank Coach Hudson, Brett Hudson, for taking me in and giving me an opportunity, to come across the country and play right away. So I started for pretty most of the season and had a pretty solid year. Showcased that I could play bump and run, showcase I can play in zone, showcase I could tackle in open field, and then we also had a package where I was one of the better cover guys, so they put me in the nickel on the inside where I was playing the faster guys, and I feel as though I excelled fairly well there, and I had a pretty solid career there, and then.
Nice. And then you ended up obviously at Dixie State, and then you've been there 2 years, right? At
Yes,
Dixie
sir.
State.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
I've been here the last 2 years. As a junior, came in right away, and started, and made an impact on our team. Started in 9 or 11 games, and we played a lot of bump and run, kind of what I did in at Grossmont. Played a lot of bump and run, would mix up cover three, here and there. But for the most part, 99.9% of the time we were in man. And then I was fortunate enough to put together a pretty solid season, got first team all conference, and, contributed to our team having our first winning program in school history. So I think that was pretty special that I was part of that.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. That's cool. Now, so as far as say there's a specific player in the NFL, like what guy do you tailor your game after? Is there a guy that you specifically watch more than others, where you're like, I'm kind of like, I feel like I'm like that type of guy, or is it just like a multitude of players, or?
I'd like to say I compare myself and like to watch his game. Nickell Robey-Coleman,
Okay.
From the Los Angeles Rams. He's a smaller guy who could play outside or inside, but really, he's one of the best in the league right now, and at the slot position at the corner position in the slot. I'm sorry, and I feel as though being a smaller guy, you just gotta have that chip on your shoulder and be a dog. And he plays very fast. He's about maybe 5'6", 5'7", 170 pounds, and you would think he obviously plays a lot bigger than his height and weight. So I mean, I feel as though I like to watch his game and try to resemble my game as his.
Yeah. Okay. That's a good one. That's actually a really good one. It's funny because, well, obviously, I'm from New England, so that's certainly not the first cornerback that comes to mind, but he's a heck of a player. So that's a good one for sure.
Yeah.
So now, where am I here? I just totally lost my spot. What am I doing? Oh. No, that's not it either. Oh. So I'm going to edit this part out, but I just want to ask you before I actually ask the question. I was going to ask about if you've reached out to any players either in the NFL or that are currently going through the draft process, and you've talked to them about anything or whatever. But I didn't want to ask it without knowing the answer, so I figured I'd ask first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. When I was training for my pro day, I was around a couple NFL guys who, kind of, took.
All right. So wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me. So I'll actually ask the question this time. But I just want to. I didn't want to ask the question and have you be like, "No, I didn't."
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
All right. So, are there any players either in the league right now or players that or prospects currently trying to get into the draft that you've kind of reached out to or have maybe worked out a little bit with in your preparation heading to the draft?
Yes, definitely. Training for my pro day, I was around guys like Marvin Hall. He plays for Atlanta Falcons. Jadon Mickens. I reached out to guys. A lot of mainly undrafted guys because I know that's probably the route that I'm going to go. So, I just try to reach out to who else I reached? Rob Nelson, uh, Josh Thornton from Southern Utah, and they all just played a big role into just giving me the best knowledge they can, and just telling me that there's nothing wrong with going undrafted, you know, because and it makes you go that much harder because you got to get it out the mud, and you got to go that much harder to make that 53-man roster. So those guys played a big influence on, my confidence and everything going forward into the draft. They, kind of painted the picture for me. They give you they gave me the knowledge where, you take a little bit of what the knowledge they give you, and incorporate it into your journey into making that puzzle. And they just gave me all the little pieces that I'm gonna need going forward and going into the draft.
Right. Good. That's good. You mentioned the undrafted stuff. I mean, I just think, especially people in New England, obviously know Malcolm Butler, and he went to a D2 school as well in West Alabama. And, he was undrafted, but what a lot of people don't realize about Butler is that not only was he an undrafted free agent signing, but he was literally a guy that the Patriots weren't even interested in. They were just like, we need extra guys for rookie training camp. So let's just sign this guy. They just picked like a random, they basically pulled the name out of a hat and picked Malcolm Butler. And he got to camp and started impressing people. And so it's just one of those things where, he kind of got overlooked all the way through by everybody, including the Patriots. And they just happened to, get him in a rookie camp and they put him on the field. And all of a sudden he was competing against guys and he could play. And, obviously he didn't make the roster at the beginning of the year, but as the year progressed and moved on, then he ended up on the active roster, obviously made the interception in the Super Bowl and just got paid, like $65 million or something like that. So by Tennessee. So,
Yeah,
obviously that's a quick turnaround for him, a few years later,
for
but I
sure.
mean,
And I remember I was home that summer, and every summer that I usually was home, my uncle, we would go to watch the training camps and stuff like that, and I actually remember actually watching him that year. They had Brandon Browner, Darrell Revis ahead of him and stuff like that. And I remember, like who, and he actually, from what I remember, I think early on he wore 29,
yep.
and I remember just watching him like, wow, like I'm seeing the name and then I'm seeing the school. I'm like, okay, who's this unknown guy that is making noise? And then, like you said, next thing he wins us the Super Bowl. So um,
Yeah.
definitely, that gives me, especially him coming from a Division II, that gives me a lot of hope that all I need is that one team to take a chance on me and to let me showcase what I can do and give me the best confidence going forward.
Yeah. Well, I think too, it helps, not only does it help your confidence, but I think it helps you in the fact of other NFL teams. Like they're also looking for it because they say, okay, well, it seems kind of, I mean, the kid's D2, whatever, but look at Malcolm Butler. Like maybe he didn't test off the charts. He wasn't 6'3" and 250 pounds and a physical specimen, maybe, but they got him into camp and he could play football. And it was like,
Mm-hmm.
so who knows? You take a shot at a guy who maybe is a D2 guy, but runs pretty well and has decent measurables and like, maybe has that heart that other people don't have that, that maybe they weren't taken into account before a guy like Butler comes along and performs the way he does.
Mm-hmm. Definitely agree.
So now let's just say, okay, that something were to happen. Do you have a backup plan? Let's say you don't make it into the draft this year for whatever reason. Is there a backup plan for you for the future?
Yes, I have. I did while training for my pro day, I did a couple. I did a CFL tryout with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, and I ran fairly well at their tryout, and the one-on-one showed I could cover guys and be physical and stuff like that. So they actually recently just reached out to me, wanting to invite me to their mini camp out in Winnipeg. So that's a potential, stepping stone if the league doesn't work out, and or like I said, I still have to finish school. I finish in December. I have one more semester, so obviously the ultimate goal was to get a free college education. So that's where going forward. That's where I'm at right now. If football doesn't work out, I definitely want to finish school, get my degree, and then who knows where it could take me as far as either the CFL or a year from now. I continue to work out, stay in shape, and hopefully get a tryout with another team, and hopefully they like me and take a shot on me if I don't get a camp invite or whatever the case is.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's good though. I mean, it's always good to have options in the back, in the background, just in case something happens. But we hope the best. I mean, I think it seems like you have a decent shot, at least if again, it's one of those things like you just don't know, right? It's just like,
Mm-hmm.
will a team take a chance and say this kid looks like on paper he's a D2 guy, so you never know. But
Mm-hmm.
we look at the tape, we look at some of the measurables, and you go through the interviews and you see him play, and it's like, let's just take a shot. You know what I mean? And that's all it takes. Sometimes it takes one team to take a shot at you, and then you never know.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
So now, final thing, and we'll leave you with this. I want you to sell us on you. Like, why should a team bring you in? As the guy, as the guy in camp that can make the roster.
I feel as though a team should take a shot on me because first and foremost, not just a football player, but I hold myself like a professional on an everyday, day-to-day basis. And, and then if we want to talk about football, I can be a guy who could, be versatile. I could play special teams. I could play slot corner. I could play outside corner. I could return punts and kicks. And so I think just my versatility, being able to do multiple things. So, maybe if they don't need me at, let's say, corner or slot corner, I could be a punt returner. I could be a kick returner. I could be a guy who's going to run down on kickoff and punt and, get to the ball. And as far as, I feel as though my coverage skills, I feel as though I could run with anybody, with some of the best in the league, if you ask me. And, you know, and I just think if a team was to take a shot on me, they're going to get the best version of Tyneil Cooper, and a person who's going to come every day and, give it their all and put their best foot forward. And just, if I start from the bottom, I'm for surely going to grind my way to the top. And, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get there. So, um, that's really it as far as um, a team. They're just going to get a great player, and a great player on and off the field, realistically.
Well, and that's so important too. I feel like, someone that holds themselves to a standard like that, where it's, you know, you're not dealing with any drama. You're not dealing with, this guy doesn't know how to handle himself or control himself, or like, is a mess around the media or going out or doing whatever. And it's like, we don't have to deal with that. This guy acts
Mm-hmm.
professional, and that's one less thing we got to worry about, So that's always important. And that flexibility too is huge because like you say, if you're starting out as an undrafted free agent, you may have to start in special teams and then work your way into that defense. And so it's like having the ability, number one, that you've returned punts in college, and then also having the willingness to play special teams is huge too. So I think that's a recipe for success, I think.
Definitely.
So now, where can people find you, interact with you on social media?
Um, my Twitter handle is It's Fly Neil, FLYYNEIL, and then my Instagram account is Tycoop TYC 3 O's P 24. And yeah, they could find me there. Where like I said, for the most part, I'm not really a guy who, I post things to mainly motivate people, and just show them that I'm from Providence, Rhode Island, and I've made it this far into this process. So if I can do it, that anybody can do it. And I just for the most part, I'm not really a talkative guy. I'm strictly business, and and I like to hold myself like a gentleman, like my mom raised me to, and and just be, like I said, be the best person I can be on a day-to-day basis, from when I wake up to when I go to bed.
That's great. That's good. All right. Well, that's good. I mean, I think you're a good follow on Twitter. Like you say, you do post that motivational stuff, and so that helps every now and again. Even for someone who's not an athlete like me, it's like it's nice to see that motivational stuff kind of keeps you going. If I'm going to the gym or something like that, I'm like, all right, I'll go. I'll go to the gym today.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
but
like right now, like I'm about to go work out. This is gonna be my second or third workout today, and you know what I mean. I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning, so I ran this morning, then I lifted, and then I'm pretty much gonna go to the gym again. Just do just some recovery stuff, some core, some extra stretching, stuff like that, and it's just the little things that are gonna get you to where you want to be, and I try to follow that standard by doing the little things right. And my coach, one thing I learned and I always took and ran with since high school is, who are you when nobody's looking? That's one thing my high school coach used to preach to me. What are you doing when no one's looking? So that's one thing that I try to live by and follow by, and it's been doing me justice since. So
that's good. That's good to hear. Well, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate it. Certainly wish you best of luck in the draft process, and hopefully, we'll be watching you on Sundays next year. That'd be pretty sweet, and maybe we'll have you back on the show towards the end, towards the end of the year.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Have a good night. All right.
Thank you.
All right. Oh, that went well, man.
Appreciate it, and so I mean, I know I kind of stumbled upon a couple of things. Now obviously you're gonna edit it, like you said, and
Yeah. What I'll do is, I mean, I think you were fine. Like you wouldn't really, I don't think, stumbled over much. I mean, the thing is too is that I think it's more authentic. Like I feel like if I were asking you, it's like if I were asking you questions, and like the second I asked you the question, you came up with like the perfect answer right away. But it almost sounds like we rehearsed the whole interview beforehand, and then you have
Makes
just like
sense.
stock answers that you given. You know what I mean? So
Makes
anytime
sense.
there's like long breaks or something like that, I'll cut some of that stuff out. So it sounds like it's a little bit, it's not quite as choppy, but for the most part, I thought it went really well.
Okay. Thank you so much.
So yeah, absolutely. So there's nothing on there that you want to take out or anything like that, right?
Nah, I mean, for the most part, I mean, I said everything, you know, and I obviously was real about everything. So I don't,
Right.
I don't, I don't. Yeah, you could. I feel good about
Okay.
what I said. Yeah.
All right, good. Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I mean, for me, it's just one of those things. Like, I almost feel like I said, if I'm giving you a question, because I mean, I'm the same way. Like, I ask the questions, and I'm like, what, it's the questions maybe aren't perfect, but then it comes to you, and you're like, if it's right away, it's almost like you're reading off of a screen. Like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to say, and it's like, it just sounds like you're like a robot. You know what I mean? And so when
Yeah, I
when
agree.
you're not that you're necessarily like stumbling over things, but when you're like being thoughtful and thinking about your answers and stuff, it brings a little bit more of a personal thing, into the interview. So, but yeah, I thought it was
Makes
good. So
sense.
yeah, so
Appreciate
it'll
it.
be up.
Thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
of course, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate it. And yeah, so we'll go from there, and it'll be up tonight. Yeah, I'm gonna edit it and throw it up tonight along with the rest of the episode. I'm just gonna talk. I have a few segments or whatever I do afterwards, but you're the only guest this week, so
Okay.
Guy, and I'll tag you when I tweet it out.
Okay. Cool.
All right, man.
Thanks so much. Take care. Have a nice night.
You got it. Thanks. You too.
Yes, sir.